Hi learners, welcome to the course. Our today's topic is types of OLAP servers. In earlier course, we have completed two types of OLAP servers. So today we will cover the next other types of OLAP servers. So there were three types of main servers, right? So we will discuss one by one, and apart from that, I'll cover the what is OLAP queue, what is the difference between the OLAP server and OLAP client will also be there in the architecture. So we will cover that also. Myself, Priyanka Gupta, I am working as Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering Data Science at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Let us start. So today I'll cover the topics are what I have said, OLAP queue, difference between OLAP server and OLAP client server, types of different OLAP servers. In that I'll cover HOLAP. So we have covered the MOLAP and SOLAP, right? So these were the three main type of OLAP servers. Apart from that, other servers are also there. Like some of the servers are there: WOLAP, Web Enabled OLAP, DOLAP, Desktop OLAP, MOLAP, Mobile Online Analytical Processing OLAP server, SOLAP, Spatial, and RT-OLAP means Real-Time OLAP server. So let us start. So in the earlier course, we have been introduced by different multidimensional cubes. So what are the different multidimensional data cubes? That is nothing but that is a data from the data warehouse. That is nothing but the view of a data from the data warehouse. So any data will be seen in the form of a data cube. That is multi-dimensional view of data. So in this figure we can see the 3D dimension data cube, right? 3D. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis. So this is the data cube that is having the 3 dimension of the cubes, right? So the OLAP cube is nothing but it is a data structure. Basically, it is a data structure that is going to give the data analysis, the fastest data analysis according to the based on the multiple dimension, based on the how many dimensions are there in the data cube. Based on that, we will be able to fetch the data for the analysis. So that can define a business problem. So the data we can find from the data cube that is going to define a business problem, right? So that was a introduction about data cube. So in the figure we can see a multi-dimensional cube, right? Multi-dimensional data cube. So for reporting sales, might be some of the dimensions will be there, like here we can see 9 type of dimensions are here. Like in first we can see ambassador PC, executive PC, standard PC. In the other axis, here is Gen 01 and Fab 01, that are other dimensions of the data cube. And here we can see the cities, different cities, Wanchai, Rome, Tokyo, and Madrid. So that was the another dimension of the 4 of the dimension of this data cube. So this particular data cube is composing of 9 dimensions, right? 3 are here, 2 are here, and 4 are here, right? So that was all about OLAP cube. We have also covered what are the different OLAP servers, right? So basically, we can be sometimes confused because there will be sometimes the user is going to use the server, and some of the time user is going to use the client desktop. So what is basically the difference between OLAP server and basically client desktop. So the OLAP server is nothing but it is a OLAP product, in that the aggregated data calculations and storage will be performed. That the end user is going to perform uh, the data warehouse manager and other are going to use the aggregated data analysis, calculations and storage that will be performed by the server. These type of all the calculations and analysis will be done by the server, right? So OLAP servers support all three main type of data storage, ROLAP, MOLAP and HOLAP. So in that we have already covered ROLAP, that is nothing but the relational online analytical processing server, right? Second, we have also covered MOLAP. So what is this? This is multi-dimensional OLAP server. So in that the data will be in the form of multi-dimensional data cubes. So today we will cover the OLAP server type of data, right? So that was the basically three type of OLAP servers. Apart from that, the user that he is going to use the different other type of OLAP servers also. So we will cover the one by one. So what about OLAP client desktop? So we have seen the definition of OLAP server. So on the other hand, the OLAP client application receives only the result of query. What it is receiving? When the end user is going to write some of the SQL query, so this type of client is going to receive that query, right, to the multi-dimensional cube stored on the server, right? So the query will be written and that will be stored into the multi-dimensional data cube on the server side. So that is basically the difference between the OLAP server and OLAP client. So basically if we will see how the OLAP server is working, the OLAP client will work differently from that. How it works, like the construction of a multi-dimensional cube and OLAP calculation will be performed in the client's computer's memory. So that is a main difference, because on the OLAP server all the calculations will be performed on the client side. So on the client computer's memory, all the calculation and analysis is going to be operate. So in this term, the client is going to different from the server side, right? OLAP server side. So the OLAP clients will also be divided into the other types. So what are the types are there? ROLAP and MOLAP. So that is basically as same as OLAP servers. So if it will not include the hybrid version of OLAP server, but yes, it is going to include the relational OLAP server and MOLAP client desktops, not server client. So some of them may support both data access options. So from the clients, in that some of them they can support these both. OLAP server and client both are different from each other. How? Because there is a popular belief about the advantage of server tools over the client tools. So as a end user, as a user, we can have some belief that the server tools is going to do all the processing very fast, very accurate. So that is the advantage, because the belief is there, we will always go for the OLAP server type of things. So rather than we are using the client tools. So that will be basically on the one of the desktop, and the server that will be the most powerful system desktop, so all the calculation and processing will be fast and accurate. So in the number of cases, the use of OLAP client for users may be more and more efficient and profitable. So then rather than we are going to use the OLAP server. So uh, a good example of that, it can be the RANET OLAP client tool. So basically that is the company runs the RANET that is having the OLAP client tool. So that can be a very very good system for to use rather than we are going to use the OLAP server, right? So the RANET OLAP is a ready to use data analysis tool. So what is this? This is a data analysis tool. So that is very very handy. We are going to use a ready to use. So that is going to help to create the interactive reports for the end users, that is going to do the forecasting, the prediction for the end users, and as well as for the business planning. So this type of tools is going to do the analysis, forecasting and business planning. So the tool is basically easily extendable. It can be extendable, and it can be integrated with the other existing system into the organization. So if any of the organizations or industry is going to use the warehouse, so on the warehouse, if some system is there, some of the server is there, so on that the RANET OLAP client tool is going to be integrated very very easily. So there is no need to attach any other system. It can be added to the same system, and then that will be very very handy and useful for us to write the queries and do the analysis and do the forecasting for the business purpose. So basically most of the organizations they are using these type of data analysis tools. So now we will cover the other type of OLAP servers. So we have covered the relational OLAP server, multi-dimensional OLAP server. So these are the main servers. And third server is hybrid online analytical processing server. So that is basically the combination of relational and multi-dimensional OLAP servers, right? So that is the abbreviation we are using, hybrid, HOLAP for that. HOLAP for that. Right? So this type of analytical processing solves the limitations of MOLAP and ROLAP. So if there is some of limitations, some of the problems arising on the multi-dimensional OLAP server as well as on the relational OLAP servers, so the hybrid type of OLAP server is going to resolve that type of problems. So in that server we are going to the server is going to combine their attribute, both of the attribute it is going to combine, and then it is going to process all the queries and all the analysis, right? So in that the data in the database will be divided into the two of the parts. So the first part will be the specialized storage, right? And second will be the relational storage. So all of the data that is going to be aggregated, that is going to be combined, that will be divided into the two parts. The first part will be the specialized storage, and second part will be the relational storage. So in that type, the data is going to divide it from the database, data warehouse. So integrating these two of the aspects addresses the issue relating to the performance and scalability. So in this type of hybrid OLAP servers, we are going to add the ROLAP server and MOLAP servers database. So rather we are going to add this, there will be the speed problem. So the huge amount of data will be uh, is going to be combined there, is going to be aggregated there in the OLAP server. So the performance obviously is going to affect. So performance and as well as the scalability of the OLAP server is going to affect, right? Because of the attaching these of the databases, right? So HOLAP stores the huge volume of data, obviously, in a relational database, and then it keeps the aggregations. It is going to keep the aggregations in a OLAP server. So basically, the OLAP server is having the huge amount of data after the aggregation that is going to keep the relational database as an aggregation, and then it is going to store it on the OLAP server. So that basically is going to happen on the back of the back side of the OLAP server. So here we can see in this figure the block diagram of hybrid OLAP server. So here we can see the database server, right? Database server that is having the relational database management system and some of the files, flat files. So there will be the OLAP server in between, in the middle of the architecture. After that, the end tools and the front end tools is going to be used by the end users. So basically, the SQL query will be written by the end users that will go to the database server, right? So for to get the result, and then the result is going to display on the front end tools after all the calculation. So before that, what will happen? The SQL query will go to this server, right? The result will go to the OLAP server in between, in the middle of the architecture, right? Then it is going to show the result at the end of the front end tools. Front end tools, or we can say the desktop of the end users, right? So like this, the hybrid OLAP is going to process all the calculations and aggregations. So basically, there will be the RDBMS server, there will be the OLAP server. Combination of that, we are going to process. Combination of that, the server is going to process the query of the end user, right? So we have seen all the processing of the data and calculation, how it is going to do on this type of hybrid OLAP servers. So basically, the OLAP model consists a server, what we have seen here. So that can support the ROLAP and MOLAP. So basically, that was the combination of ROLAP and OLAP. So it is going to support both of these. It consists the complex architecture that requires the frequent maintenance. So as basically, this is going to attach the two types of servers, right? Relational OLAP server and multi-dimensional OLAP server. So that will be more complicated when we are going to add two of the servers to make a hybrid type of servers. So the maintenance will be high because of we have to maintenance both of the servers on that side. So the frequent maintenance will be needed, right? The queries that the end user is going to write in the OLAP model, that is involving the multi-dimensional database and the relational database. So both of the database it is going to use. The front user tools that represent the data from the DBMS directly. Some of the times it can show the data from the DBMS directly, and we can say from the intermediate OLAP. Some of the times the result will flow onto the OLAP server. So in this block diagram architecture, we have seen the process, how the query is going to process from the end user from the front end tools, it is going to RDBMS side, then it is going to OLAP side if needed, and then it is going to display the result onto the front end tools. So basically the OLAP server, it is going to store the data summarization in the form of binary files. In the form of binary files, or we can say in the pre-calculated cubes. So the data will be stored into the pre-calculated cubes and in the form of binary files. It leaves the quantity of fact and dimension information in the relational database management system. So it is going to use the quantity of fact and dimension tables. So in the RDBMS server, the OLAP can be approached if there will be the existence of a huge amount of data. We can say some of the times if there is a performance congestion into the other servers, like if there will be the problem on multi-dimensional OLAP server in the form of performance, in the form of if some congestion is there in performance, if there will be the huge amount, then we are going to approach the OLAP server. The OLAP server basically is storing the information in the most functional way possible. So that is basically the new combination of these of the two OLAP servers. So obviously it is going to cover all the aspects, all the problems of these of the two OLAP servers. The OLAP component offers flexibility. That is going to that will be the flexible in nature, while the end user, the manager, data warehouse manager is going to design the warehouse. They are going to access the data. They are going to maintain OLAP data groups. So that will the OLAP server is very, very flexible for that. That the easy to use. That is very, very easy to use. We can add and approach all of the data cubes on that server. So the example of OLAP server is Microsoft SQL Server 2000. That is going to provide a hybrid type of OLAP server, right? So that was the example of OLAP server. What are the advantages over the OLAP and ROLAP servers? So basically it is going to improve the performance as well as the scalability of the system, because it is going to combine the multi-dimension and relational attributes, right? So of the online analytical processing. Basically it is a resourceful analytical processing tool if we expect a size of data or increase of data. So if there will be the huge amount of data, large amount of data, so there will be this OLAP tool will be the very, very useful tool for processing. So its processing ability will be the higher side because than the two of the other OLAP server tools. So that was the all about the advantage of OLAP over the two other OLAP servers. What are the disadvantages are there? There can be some disadvantages also. So the model, the OLAP model is going to use a huge storage space. So that is a cons of that, because it requires it consists data from the two of the other databases. So we need a huge storage space to store these two databases data onto the one place. The model is going to require the frequent updates, we can say frequent maintenance. So because of that, it is going to be complex in nature. So again and again the data is going to update, and then after that we also have to manage all the data onto the server side. So and there will be the complexity to manage these type of things. So that was advantage and disadvantage over the MOLAP and ROLAP data servers, OLAP servers. So this is the summary of MOLAP, ROLAP and HOLAP in a table form. So in this table, we can see the MOLAP, ROLAP and HOLAP is divided into the form of some of the functions. So some of the functionality are there that is going to be we can say that is going to be differentiated between the basis of data storage, basis of techniques, on the basis of how much data are there stored, what is the design view of the architecture server model, and what are the different data arrangement is going to happen into the architecture planning. So here we can see the MOLAP is nothing but the multidimensional online analytical processing, as well as ROLAP is relational and HOLAP is hybrid. On the basis of data storage, the MOLAP is going to store data into the multidimensional database. ROLAP is going to store the data in relational database. The HOLAP is going to store the data into the relational database. So the ROLAP and HOLAP using the relational database to store the data. The techniques in MOLAP, it is going to utilize the sparse matrix technique to store the data. The ROLAP is going to use the SQL query, structured query language, to write any type of query. The HOLAP is going to combine the both of the two SQL and sparse matrix technique to process the data. On the basis of volume, the MOLAP server, MOLAP model, it going to process a limited volume of data. So because it is based on the multidimensional data cubes, it is having a limited volume of data. The ROLAP is going to use the enormous more data rather than the MOLAP server, and on HOLAP huge amount of data will be used. On the basis of design view, the MOLAP that is having the multi-dimensional view, that is in the static nature. That will be in the static nature. In the ROLAP, the view will be on the basis of dynamic nature. That will be the dynamic in nature. Although in HOLAP, that will also be in the dynamic nature. On the basis of data arrangement, we can see the difference between MOLAP, ROLAP and HOLAP. So in the basis of data arrangement, the MOLAP, it arranges data in the data cubes as it is based on multidimensional, right? And the ROLAP, it is going to arrange the data into the form of row and column. So as we know, in the conventional DBMS, in the we can say old database management system, the data will be stored into the form of table. So that is also called as a relational database management system. So basically the ROLAP is going to store the data into the form of row and columns, we can say in the form of tables. The HOLAP is a multidimensional arrangement of data. So this is going to use the ROLAP and MOLAP both together. So that was the summary of all of three, as we have completed MOLAP and ROLAP in earlier course. We have covered the HOLAP today. So there was basically the difference between these three. So on the basis of different functionalities, these are the 5 functionality we have covered. So here other type of OLAP servers are also is there. The first server is WOLAP, that is web enabled. web enabled. So that can also be implemented as a OLAP server. So what is basically web enabled? So a web OLAP is sometimes it is known as in the term of web enabled OLAP, that is going to utilize through the internet browser. So if the data the end user is going to access from the internet browser, so these type of OLAP server will be needed for that. So we will going to implement the WOLAP server for that. So it is very well maybe utilized onto the off chance that we are going to think about the something on a truly minimum effort to spend some of the plan, since it is going to require a web browser for that, web connection for that, and as well as the internet browser for that. So as I have told you, if there will be the internet connection, that after that only the internet browser is going to use. Then only after that it is going to run all of the data on that. So the internet browser will be needed for that. So to get the information from the web, information from the World Wide Web, so from the internet. So these are the two physical connections we need for that. So we will need the internet connection, and we will need the internet browser for that, to browse all of the information from the World Wide Web. So it contrasts the different kinds of OLAP, WOLAP functionality and performance that is undermined. So different type of OLAP, that is the another OLAP, WOLAP, that is going to use the functionality of web enabled processes, and performance that is undermined because of that. So unlike the traditional client server model OLAP applications we have used, the WOLAP is considered to have a three tier architecture. So basically the three we have covered, the MOLAP, ROLAP and HOLAP, they were also the architecture of that were having the three tier. So the WOLAP also is having the three tier architecture, in which there will be the three parts: the client part, middleware part, and database server part. So in the architecture there will be the three tier. First tier is the client, second tier is the middleware, middle part, and third tier is database server. So that is a basic construction of the WOLAP applications server. DOLAP. So there will also the OLAP server we can use. That is nothing but the desktop OLAP server. Desktop. D stands for desktop. Okay. So DOLAP that is going to this is basically a single tier OLAP technology that is not having the three tier as the other four OLAP servers were having. This architecture is going to permit a user to download a section of data. He can download a section of data, we can say the small data cubes, from the database management system, from the different databases from the direct source. So, and after that he is going to work with that dataset locally. So on the desktop, on the local system, he is going to use that dataset directly. Because of that, he is going to perform the multi-dimensional analysis on that. We can say he is going to do all the operations onto the desktop. So the user can create a OLAP cube himself without connecting to the server. So what basically means a multi-dimensional analysis? The the user, he is going to use the data in the form of some section that will be shown into the form of some of the data cubes. So he don't have to use the server for that. That basically he is going to use the desktop. On that he can directly use the data set or data cube for the different processing. Basically these of the systems are very user friendly, and we can say it is these type of system are going to provide high speed query processing, because there will no needed of the client server model. The basically the desktop is enough to run all the queries on that. So there will be the processing will be very fast for that. So the high speed will be there while we are the user is going to write some of the SQL query. And but we can say the functionality can be limited for that. Some of the functionality we cannot use on this desktop, rather than that functionality we have used on the server side. So that the limitation will be there for that. Some of the functions will not run there on the desktop side of that. So this type of this type of model, this type of model, it is having the most cost effective value, and it is very beneficial for the mobile clients. So who are the mobile clients who are traveling somewhere, who are needy to use the data directly? They are going to use this system, this desktop OLAP server. So because of that, the data, they don't have to connect every time, anytime, generally to the server side, to the data warehouse. So directly the user will be able to fetch the data, rather he is going to use the data warehouse. The vendors are for the desktop model are Cognos PowerPlay, Crystal Decisions, and Hummingbird. So these three will be the example for vendors of the OLAP servers. MOLAP, that is basically stands for mobile online. M stands for mobile OLAP server. So this type of OLAP model is going to enable users, they can access and work on the OLAP data and as well as the applications while they are on remote places, remotely. So they have to use these applications through the use of their mobile devices and with the wireless networks. So if there will be the wireless network system, and the user is going to use the mobile devices, they will be able to use do the analysis onto the this type of servers. So the vendors for that are HyperAM, Desister Software, Exonial. So these are the two vendors for the MOLAP server. SOLAP. So S basically stands for spatial. So the SOLAP is designed to study the spatial data. Basically, in this area, the concepts from the significantly different areas of knowledge of geographic information system as well as the OLAP will be combined at a one place. So on the SOLAP models, there will be the two types of knowledge will be gathered, the GIS system knowledge and the OLAP knowledge will be gathered at a one place. The SOLAP, that includes the capability of both of the GIS and OLAP into a single user interface, because we have to combine on that. So the model is having the capability as a single user interface. So these type of models is going to facilitate the management of some of the time the spatial and non-spatial data some of the time. So basically this type of model is designed for the interactive and fast analysis of large amount of data, that is, the data is going to stored into the other spatial databases. So on the basis of that, this type of models is going to come a picture. So the SOLAP tools are there, that is going to combine the OLAP analysis with the GIS framework. So there will be the need of GIS to extract the these type of spatial type of data from the GIS device. We are going to fetch that, and the OLAP analysis will be there for that, and after that we will going to visualize the all of the geographical locations on the basis of this data. So there will be the visualization after the processes of all the OLAP and GIS framework. So this tool is going to combine, and that is going to show the all of the visualization and representations of in the form of charts. The vendors are there for SOLAP type of model, the JMap Spatial OLAP and GeoMondarian. So these are the two vendors are there for SOLAP model. RTOLAP. The RT stands for basically real time. So real time models, that is different from the ROLAP models. So another is RTOLAP model. So what RT stands for? RT stands for real time. So this model basically is different from the ROLAP model. As we have covered earlier, that was basically relational data model, relational OLAP model, but that is real time analytical processing. So there will be the additional in this there will be the additional relational tables that will not created and to store the aggregations, but the aggregations will be calculated at the time of request. So there will be no tables to store the aggregations, that will be calculated when the user is going to request for that. So the aggregations will be calculating directly as a form of aggregation. So only the explicitly entered data will be stored onto the multi-dimensional cube. Because of this, because of the at the time request, when the user is going to request for the process, the server selects the data and then it is going to calculate the data on the same time, right? All the calculation after that will be performed on demand, and all the data will be stored into the main of the memory of server. So in this model, all the data will be storing into the main memory directly. The vendors will be for real-time OLAP model are Applix TM1, SNT, and Palo. So these three of the vendors are there for RT OLAP model. So this was all about the different type of OLAP servers. So basically there are three main type of servers: ROLAP, MOLAP, and HOLAP. Relational OLAP server, multi-dimensional OLAP server, and the combination of both are hybrid OLAP server. There are basically other type of models the user can use that we have covered in the form of WOLAP, DOLAP, SOLAP, HOLAP, etc. So we will meet in the next course. In that we will cover the OLAP operations. So thank you for watching.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.